Okay, so imagine this. You wake up one morning in the 15th century BC and you're a god. Not like, oh, I'm feeling superior today, confident. An actual god. People literally worship you. They think you control the sun, the Nile, the harvest, basically everything that keeps Egypt from falling apart. No pressure or anything. You're maybe 15 years old when this hits you. Your ex-godfather just died, and now you're in charge. And let me tell you, nobody prepares you for this. There's no, so you're about to become a living deity handbook. You just wake up one day, and suddenly every single person who looks at you has to bow in reverence. Most of them can't even make eye contact because apparently looking directly at a god is too much for regular humans to handle. Your morning routine is absolutely wild. You can't just roll out of bed and grab breakfast like a normal person. Oh no, there's a whole ceremony just for you waking up. Priests are already gathered outside your bedroom, chanting and burning incense because you opening your eyes is apparently a religious event. Someone has to ritually dress you. Not because you can't dress yourself, you definitely can, but because touching the pharaoh's clothes is considered a holy privilege, and there are people whose entire job is just putting your fancy linen on you correctly. And the clothes. Oh man, you're wearing more gold than at a jewelry store. That fancy striped headdress everyone recognizes. The neems. That thing is heavy and it's hot, and you're wearing it in the Egyptian desert. You've got a false beard strapped to your chin even though you can grow your own beard just fine. Thank you very much. But no, pharaohs wear ceremonial beards because tradition says so. You're holding a crook and a flail, which are supposed to symbolize your power, but honestly, they're just awkward to carry around all day. Breakfast time, and you can't just eat. Every meal is this whole production. Someone has to taste your food first to make sure it's not poisoned. Because yes, people are definitely trying to kill you. You're the most powerful person in the country, which means you're also the person most people want dead so they can take your job. Fun times. And here's the absolutely wild part about being a living god. People think you control everything. Like everything, everything. The Nile hasn't flooded enough this year? That's your fault. You must be angry about something. Someone's crops failed? Obviously, you're displeased with them. A nobleman's prize horse dies? People are trying to figure out what they did to offend you. You're standing there like, I literally had nothing to do with that horse death, but everyone's already sacrificing extra offerings to get back in your good graces. Some random farmer stubs his toe 3 villages away, and he's probably wondering if he angered the pharaoh somehow. The pressure is absolutely ridiculous. You can't even have a bad day without people thinking the entire kingdom is doomed. Then there's the whole marriage situation, and this is where things get really weird. You can't just marry whoever you want. Oh no, you need to keep the royal bloodline pure, which apparently means marrying your sister, your actual sister, the same person you grew up with, fought with over toys. That's your wife now. And if you think that's uncomfortable, you're right, it absolutely is. If that isn't some sick family taboo, I don't know what is. But you're a god, and gods don't follow normal people rules, apparently. But wait, there's more. You don't just have one wife. You can have multiple wives. You've got your great royal wife, who's usually your sister, and then you've got secondary wives. And the whole situation is a political nightmare. Each wife comes from a powerful family who expects you to favor their daughter. You're trying to keep everyone happy while also running a country and also being a god. It's honestly too much. And here's something nobody talks about. What if you actually fall in love with someone? Like real love, not political alliance love. Maybe you meet someone at a festival, or there's someone in the palace who makes you laugh. Someone you can actually talk to like a normal person. Doesn't matter. Your marriage isn't about love. It's about politics and bloodlines and keeping powerful families happy. That person you actually care about? If they're not royal enough or politically useful enough, forget about it. You might be able to keep them around as a concubine if you're lucky, but they'll never have real status. They'll always be less important than the sister wife you were forced to marry for political reasons. You're a god, but you can't even choose who to love. Your heart doesn't get a vote in any of this. The priests are constantly around you, and these guys have so much power, it's kind of scary. They're the ones who perform all the religious ceremonies, and they're the ones who can tell the people whether the gods are happy or not, which means they can basically tell everyone whether you're doing a good job or not, since you are a god. So you have to keep the priests happy, otherwise they'll start rumors that you've angered the gods, and suddenly you've got a rebellion on your hands. The funny thing about being divine is you're still completely human underneath all that gold. You still get sick even though gods aren't supposed to get sick. So when you have a cold, you have to pretend you're fine while your nose is running during important ceremonies. You still stub your toe on furniture and want to yell, but you can't because gods don't say, "Ow, darn it, that hurt." You still have to use the bathroom, but there's probably some elaborate ritual for that too that you have to sit through. You're supposedly this perfect divine being, but you're dealing with all the same annoying human body stuff as everyone else. You just have to do it while maintaining the illusion that you're above all that. It's exhausting pretending to be perfect all the time. Your day is completely scheduled. You can't just decide, you know what? I'm gonna take a day off and relax. No breaks for gods. You have audiences with nobles who need you to settle disputes. You have meetings with your vizier, who's basically your prime minister and handles a lot of the day-to-day governing but still needs your input on major decisions. Foreign ambassadors come to visit and you have to conduct diplomacy while maintaining that you're literally divine and therefore superior to everyone else, but also not so superior that you insult them and start a war. And speaking of wars, you're expected to lead armies into battle. Even if you're not particularly good at fighting, even if you've never held a sword before becoming Pharaoh, you're going out there because the Pharaoh leading the troops is a huge morale boost. Nothing says, "We're going to win this," like having a literal god on your side. So you're learning military strategy. You're sitting in a chariot hoping you don't fall out, and you're trying to look brave and confident while people are shooting arrows at you. When you do win battles, and you better win because losing is not a good look for a god, you come back and immediately commission monuments about how amazing you are. Giant walls covered in hieroglyphs describing your glorious victory. Statues of you looking powerful and strong. You're basically your own hype man, except it's carved in stone and will last for thousands of years. Oh, and let's talk about entertainment because this might be the most relatable struggle of being Pharaoh. Nobles keep inviting performers to the palace to entertain you. Musicians, dancers, acrobats, poets, and some of them are terrible, like really, really bad. But you can't say that. You're the Pharaoh. If you don't clap and smile, that performer's entire career is over, and the noble who brought them will be insulted and might start plotting against you. So you're sitting there on your throne, watching someone play the lyre completely off key or recite the worst poetry you've ever heard, and you have to nod along like, "Yes, magnificent. Truly the gods have blessed you with talent." Your face is doing all the work trying to look pleased while your brain is screaming. And it goes on for hours sometimes. You can't even yawn or look bored. Meanwhile, everyone's watching you to see your reaction, so you're essentially performing too, pretending to enjoy something that's making your ears hurt. And the worst part? If you pretend too well, they'll come back next week to perform again. But here's the thing that nobody tells you about being a living god. You're actually really lonely. You can't have real friends. Everyone around you either wants something from you or is terrified of you or both. Nobody talks to you like a normal person. Every conversation is formal, filled with titles and bowing and scraping. You can't trust anyone completely because anyone could be plotting against you. Your own family members might be planning to take your throne. That brother or cousin who smiles at you during dinner. He might be working with nobles to overthrow you because he obviously wants to know what's like being a living god. You can't show weakness ever. Gods don't get sad. Gods don't get sick. Gods don't have bad days. So even when you're exhausted or scared or unsure, you have to put on that calm, powerful face and act like everything is under control. You're a teenager or young adult dealing with massive responsibility and existential loneliness, and you can't even complain about it because pharaohs don't complain. Paranoia becomes part of your daily life. Food tasters, guards everywhere, sleeping with weapons nearby just in case. You start seeing threats in everything. That noble who lingered a bit too long after the meeting, is he planning something? That priest who seemed hesitant during the ceremony, is he losing faith in you? Your wife's family is getting too powerful. Are they going to try to control you through her? And after all of this, after the stress and the ceremonies and the loneliness and the constant pressure, you die. Maybe you lived a long life. Maybe you got assassinated. Maybe you got sick because ancient medicine isn't great. And the moment you die, everything you spent your whole life building starts to crack. Your successor might try to erase you from history if they don't like you. Your carefully planned tomb might get robbed. The monuments you built might crumble. Your name might be forgotten. Or if you're really lucky and really unlucky at the same time, archaeologists will find your stuff thousands of years later and put your mummy in a museum where millions of people will stare at your preserved corpse. You spent your whole life being too divine for people to look at directly, and now you're in a glass case while tourists take selfies next to you. At least you're still famous. Being a pharaoh is the ultimate be careful what you wish for situation. Unlimited power, incredible wealth, literal god status. But also the daunting responsibility, constant danger, complete isolation, and the knowledge that everything you do will be judged not just by your people, but by history itself.